That looks huge. Oh, I'm scared.
FreeStyle Libre 2 is a little bit like an S series of an iPhone.
I'm going to call this Charlie. Charlie, the continuous glucose monitor.
CGMs do not read your blood glucose level.
I watched over 100 videos from other YouTubers about the FreeStyle Libre, and I found a few hidden gems. A few pieces of information that are either very relevant for FreeStyle Libre users or at least very funny. By the way, this video is going to be sponsored by a local chicken, and the message from the sponsor is always buy free-range eggs. So let's have a look what I found, and let's start with Hannah and Andrea, who are very concerned with the size of the needle.
That looks huge. Oh, I'm scared.
I look at that needle and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, it's not the smallest needle I've ever seen. And I totally understand why Hannah and Andrea, and maybe some of you guys, might be nervous before applying it for the first time. By the way, hit that like button if you think Abbott should make the needle smaller. Now, one thing I want to tell you to hopefully calm you down a little bit is that the needle doesn't stay under your skin. It goes in during the application, but it comes right out. The only thing that stays in is a little filament that is much smaller, and you won't feel it. So let's see if Hannah and Andrea felt any pain during the application.
Press down. I'm actually nervous.
You got this, you got this, you got this, you got this, you got this.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, no, I didn't feel it.
It just simply didn't hurt at all.
So they say it didn't hurt at all. They didn't even feel it. And I agree, in 90% of instances, you will not feel any pain during the sensor application. And I said that many times on my channel. But during those years I've been using the Libre, there have been a few instances when it did hurt. I just wasn't very loud about it because, quite honestly, I didn't want to discourage you guys from using it. I would say that for 1 of every 10 sensors I used, I could feel some pain. And I noticed there are 2 things that can go wrong. 1, it hurts when you apply the sensor directly in a muscle. So you might want to avoid any muscular areas and find an area with a little bit of fat instead. And 2, sometimes, but to be honest it's very rare, it happens that you hit a vein and the sensor starts bleeding from the middle of it right after the application. Has that ever happened to you? I ask because many people asked me in the comments, can I continue using the sensor when it starts bleeding from the middle of it right after I insert it? What I do in this situation, and obviously this is not medical advice, I continue using the sensor as long as it doesn't hurt too much. If it does hurt and if I don't feel comfortable, I typically request a replacement sensor from my sensor supplier. Now, another piece of information I want to share is a very unique video made by Dennis, who demonstrates the convenience and the ease of use of the FreeStyle Libre system. Let's have a look.
I have my handy-dandy little timer here, and I'm going to time how long it takes me to get a regular glucose test, and then we'll time the CGM, the FreeStyle Libre.
He's showing real time how long it takes to do a blood sugar test with the glucometer and compares it to FreeStyle Libre. And the result?
It took about 35 seconds to do the old-fashioned style, 5 or 6 seconds to do the CGM.
It doesn't sound like a big difference, but if you test 10 times a day, that means that you spend 5 minutes more every day. That's 30 hours a year. 30 hours is like 2 full days you spend just testing your blood sugar. That's crazy. Another cool thing Dennis does is he gives name to his testing devices.
I'm going to call this Charlie. Charlie, the continuous glucose monitor, versus Mike, the regular meter.
That's really funny. I never thought about giving my testing devices names. But I feel like it might be a really useful thing to do, especially for people who are not so keen on wearing the CGM. It might create a little bit closer relationship between you and the glucometer or the Libre, and it might make you test more in the future if you have that closer, more personal relationship. I would be curious, do you have a name for your testing device? Let me know in the comments. Another interesting video I watched is from Ben. Let's have a look.
See these stupid things? Needles. Stupid needles. And this is what they expect. And then after lunch and breakfast and snack, are you fed up with it like I am? Time to get a Libre 2.
I just love this intro, and Ben seems to be really tired of finger pricking and needles, and makes it kind of the main selling point of the FreeStyle Libre system. I totally understand, but I don't fully agree. I think that the main advantage of this device is not that you don't have to prick your finger. The main advantage is that you get the blood sugar data every day, every few minutes, before meal, 5 minutes after meal, 10 minutes after meal, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours after meal, all the time, every day. The testing is so much easier and faster with the CGM, and you just get so many more data points. And by the way, Dennis agrees.
In many cases, if you're prudent and you do a lot of post-meal tests on all kinds of different foods and meals, you can learn more in 2 weeks with a CGM than you could learn in 6 months with a traditional meter.
You can never collect that much data and information about how different foods and activities impact your blood sugar with a conventional glucometer. And this information equals knowledge, guys. And knowledge and discipline is power when it comes to managing blood sugars and managing diabetes. Now, the next video I found is very interesting. And in this video, Diabetic explains differences between different FreeStyle Libre readers. Let's have a look.
Libre 1, black. Libre 2, blue. My conspiracy theory says that it's blue because of Bluetooth built in, and the Illuminati triangle agrees.
Now that's a very creative way to explain it. I love it. And he's got it right. Libre 2 really has Bluetooth built in, which enables the alarm functionality. And you guys often ask me if you can use the black reader with the Libre 2 sensors or the blue reader with Libre 1 sensors. And the answer is no, you can't. You always need the right reader. But if you want to avoid buying a second reader, you can always download an app on your phone and scan the sensor with your phone. By the way, the FreeStyle Libre 2 app is now available also in the US. We have been waiting for this for so long, and now the dream came true. For me, the mobile app is much better solution because it can read both Libre 1 and Libre 2 sensors, and it's way more user-friendly than these readers. But let's talk about the alarms on FreeStyle Libre 2 a little bit more, because they are not all that great.
It only tells you when you're low, and it tells you that you are low, but it does not tell you just how low.
And I agree with Camille here. This I found really weird about FreeStyle Libre 2. The system uses Bluetooth only to give you the alarm. It doesn't use the Bluetooth to transfer the actual value and trend of your glucose to the receiving device. So we still need to scan the sensor to initiate the transfer of the data from the sensor to our receiving device. This is done by a different technology, NFC. This is not done by Bluetooth. The Bluetooth is there only to give you the alarm, only to tell you that you are low or high, but not how low or how high you are.
FreeStyle Libre 2 is a little bit like an S series of an iPhone. It's more like Libre S than Libre 2.
That's a really great analogy, by the way. But don't worry, guys, because the FreeStyle Libre 3 is coming really soon, and this one includes some major updates and improvements. The next piece of information I found, and this one is again from Ben, is critical, and so many people still get this one wrong.
CGMs do not read your blood glucose level. Now typically there's about a 5 to 10 minute variance between your interstitial glucose levels and your blood glucose levels. It depends on how long your body takes to move glucose from your blood or your veins into the third space where it can be read by your Libre.
Yes, he is right. CGMs do not read blood glucose levels. I said that so many times in my videos, but Ben had to bring it up again because so many people still get this one wrong. CGMs read the glucose from interstitial fluid, and that means that the glucose readings from the CGMs are always a little bit delayed to the conventional blood sugar readings from your glucometer, from your conventional finger prick. Great explanation, Ben. I totally agree. I would just add that the length of the lag, the length of the delay might differ for different people in different situations. But 5 to 10 minutes or 5 to 15 minutes, that is what I generally see in my case. But let's move to another video I found, and this one is from Michelle. And Michelle gives some really practical and helpful tips how to prepare your skin before you apply the FreeStyle Libre sensor.
Exfoliate. This will remove any dead skin and make the surface of your skin very smooth, which will help the sensor stick.
Exfoliate. I had no idea what it meant. I had to Google it. I'm not really the exfoliate kind of guy. But after watching the video from Michelle, I tried this myself and I started recommending it to others because it really helps. In the next step, Michelle talks about cleaning the site with an alcohol wipe, and then she mentions the skin prep wipes. And I agree, these are super helpful to make the sensor stick better. Applying the skin prep in donut shape. Super helpful, totally agree. And then she waits until the adhesive is tacky but not too dry and applies the sensor. Thanks for the tip, Michelle. Guys, I made another video where I discussed 10 things about FreeStyle Libre you probably haven't been told. I'll put the video on the screen right now. So click it and watch it next. And before you go, I have links to channels of all the creators I talked about today in the video description. So definitely check them out, they have great content. Thanks for watching, ciao!